I'm here. I'm here. Oh, shit. I forgot to. Oh no, I forgot to. Oh crap. Whoops. Yeah. You know what? Doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. I just realized I forgot to update the go live notification. And I was like, wait, nope. We're not doing. It's not going to be all creative channel. Wait, what part are we on? Hang on a minute. Oh well, it's fine. It's not like you guys are even here. Oh wait. Oh hi Zephyr. It's Wednesday already? Wait, is it? Don't make me question these things. Yeah, it's Wednesday. It was. Right, it was the second day back in the office. Okay, yeah. Hey Eric, the stream daily poop. Wow. Should be more like heroic poop. We're always here. Touch grass. What do you mean we're always here? Y'all stalking me or something? Welcome in, Aaron. How you doing? And welcome in, Eric the streamer. How are you guys? Just give me a second. I am just taking care of some things. I got distracted talking with the judges, so it's definitely their fault. Definitely not my time management skills. Yeah, we were talking about like how we can handle Grr, I'm evil. Hey, Mama Luigi, how you doing? Yeah, all right. I haven't updated y'all on my FNAF Friday Night Funkin'. Damn it, why do I keep reading FNAF on that? But hey, Mama Luigi, how you doing? This Luigi likes men. Hey, I mean, I'm sure we've all seen some fan art on Twitter every now and then. I haven't updated y'all on my Friday Night Funkin' in a long time. Oh, you got something to show? But yeah, we were having some chats. I won't really tell y'all what it was about, but it was mostly just like, hey, how did we do? And yeah, what was FNAF? What's a FNAF? I forgot. Friday Night Funkin'. That's what was going on. Yeah. So we're gonna be doing a little bit of both today. Wait, first off, I gotta figure out what part are we on? It is 17. Okay, so we're doing 18 now. Yeah, there we go. Judges Highlights, Part 18. Come on. There we go. But yeah, how y'all doing today? How y'all doing tonight? All having a nice time? I wish I could make an RPG Maker game, but unfortunately I suck at making anything. We all thought that. We all think that when we first start off. That shouldn't stop you. That is a personal battle, and one that every single one of us struggles with. Even people that have been that have been doing this for a long time, we all struggle with it. Yeah. Let me ask you this, Mama Luigi. If let's assume for a second that you're correct and that you suck at making anything. I have a follow-up question for you. So? Who cares? Do you want to make it? Yes? Then there you go. That's all you need to do. That's the only motivation that you need. You don't have to... Like, even if you really are bad at it, who cares? You know? People are gonna come after it. Well, they're gonna do that no matter what. You're not gonna make everybody happy. But you know what? You start... Oh, damn, you convinced me. I'm making an RPG about cheeseburgers now? Do it. The contest winner of a game jam was a game that involved making cheeseburgers. There you go. I mean, I don't know if you're making a joke or not, but honestly, just do it. Like, who cares about what other people think? I would say if you are driving to make the next big thing as a hobbyist, probably stop and instead focus on a game that you enjoy making. Otherwise, you'll likely not see the finishing line. So, yeah, that is an important point. If you try to aim for success, that's dangerous, especially when you're first starting off. The first thing that you need to chase is fulfillment. Did you make something that you accomplished? Did you accomplish what you set out to do? You know, just make something small, make something silly. There you go. And the main enemy is Seymour Skinner. Are the main antagonist from Final Fantasy X? Seymour? I don't know where the Skinner part is, but yeah. Again, go for it. The internet has infinite space, you know. Your Seymour shitpost burger game can exist alongside somebody else's like serious project. It's a big internet. They both have their own audiences. Assuming, of course, you care about audiences. But you know, sometimes you just gotta start. Every single one of us that's making cool stuff, we started off making crap. We started off just like trying something and just having it blow up in our faces. So yeah, it's I know that's easy for me to say, but honestly, like I've been there. We've all been there. Being too afraid to show off something that you were working on, eventually it's just a hurdle. That's you gotta warn it. You know, I guess the next question is, what are you more scared of? Putting something out there and then possibly having it get demolished, or never putting something out there and just never getting that fulfillment? I get afraid to show off stuff and I just do it anyway. Well, see, the way I get over that is to be like, yeah, it sucks. So what? Like, I know my flaws. Like, I am my own worst critic. I'm scared of getting harassed mostly. That is definitely valid. But it's not as common as you would think. Most of the time when somebody, when you put something out there that doesn't really catch a lot of people's interests, you know what's going to happen? They're just going to click away. And then that's it. That's the end of it. But depending on what kind of content that you want to show off, yeah, like if you're trying to put like if you're trying to make something offensive, yeah, you're gonna get a lot of blowback from that. But if you're just making something silly, just something dumb, like nobody's gonna care. I completely understand. I had that same fear myself at some point. But eventually it's just, yeah. You want to put something out there. The fear of what ifs, the unknown, the fear of the unknown, of the scenario that you don't know will happen, to me was worse than the idea that I would get hated for something that I put out there. The problem with life online and on, there will always be more friction when more than one person is involved. If you can expect that from the start, you can manage expectations better and be ready for it. Yeah, I think so. Hey, John Erico, welcome in. Welcome in. How you doing? Hi, Zephythi. Okay, we didn't actually... Oh, wow. Okay, you guys were busy. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 things that we wanted to look at. So yeah, we're going to look at the creative channel today. And then once we're done, I'm going to show off some other games. Wow, thanks for setting me in the right tune, man. I ain't worried much anymore. Good. All worth it. That's what we try to do here. I get made fun of for being the harshest judge. But you know what? This is what makes it worth it. Yeah. So yeah, keep at it. I wasn't going to share my arts, but then I decided I was gonna. Excellent. Excellent mentality switch. Alright. Now it's time to get the actual money for RPG Maker. Yippee. Yeah. I get the nerves too, everybody does. Absolutely. I've been making games, I've been working with RPG Maker since 2013. Alright? I'm old. I still get the jitters. Because every time I try something different, there's always that fear of, okay, what if this time it blows up? It's like, imposter syndrome is definitely a thing. But at the same time, I'm just like, well, okay. So what? If it does fail? People here are relatively nice. I had to fight to overcome my attitude of, haha, you made shit game, point, and laugh. The general positivity I've experienced has been infectious. Good. Infect you with positivity. Spread it like a virus. But yeah, we just talk about games, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but, we're all just hobbyists doing the best that we can. Whether or not we think a game is good or bad, I feel like as long as we all come from a place of respect, then I think we'll be alright. Gonna tell Tori to get herself checked for positivity because of you. What? I didn't infect Tori. You're a much bigger super spreader than I am. On that note, shameless plug, but I don't know if you guys saw it on the Discord, but Sunday, at least Sunday my time, all the judges are actually going to get together for a little post-mortem podcast where we just talk about the game jam. So that'll be over on Benny's channel. So let me see if I can do shout out. Whoops. Benny Makes Games. Hopefully that's the right one. Yeah, go check out Benny Makes Games. Okay, that's the right one. Yeah, okay. That's him. All right, yeah, so go check out Benny Makes Games. Go give him a follow. And then we'll all go hang out there. For some reason, I wasn't following Benny. How dare you? How dare you? Well, you know what to do to rectify that. So yeah, we're all going to get together. We're all going to chat. And, yeah. Chat about the contest. Benny who? Benny Makes Games. I just shouted him out on there. So he was also one of the judges for the 2025 RPG Maker Game Jam. So he's going to be hosting the podcast, kind of, or it's more just like a talk. Slides into chat and kicks your router into the upper stratosphere. How dare you? I must have really good connection now because, we haven't cut off. How's the internet? It took 2 hours, but it finally got back up. Oh, something weird was going on? Anyway, that was the reason why I was late today, because I was distracted, because we were talking about some stuff behind the scenes. So, now I'm here, and I don't think they realize that I'm streaming, so I don't know if they're trying to get my attention or something. Meanwhile, my Wi-Fi struggles to connect upstairs from my downstairs router. What? Ooh, see, the problem was having your router and your machine so far away from each other. I'm lucky enough that I can reach over and touch my router right now, but I still have an Ethernet cable plugged in because, yeah, that's, like, you guys saw what happened when I didn't. Like, I would disconnect, like, in every, like, 30 minutes. So, yeah. My laptop is in my bed. What? My PC is downstairs. Oh, wow, you have both? Nice. Yeah, I'm still moving things over into my new laptop, but yeah, got all the bloatware out. Now I just need to install all the other programs, and then like make the actual switch to move all the files from my old one to my new one. Yeah. My ISP decided to fail horribly, causing me to miss the last hour and a half of my job. Well, the good news is that's a plausible reason. Someone. Funny thing, I was actually at, I work remotely a couple days a week. And one time, about a year ago, I want to say, someone was working on putting in internet for somebody below me. And I don't know what happened, but they accidentally cut my wire. Which meant I just lost internet for like 3 weeks while I waited for a guy to come in. And I was just like, well, can't do much about that. Yeah. Man, I hate it when you try and delete a file, but then it says you gotta close a file you never opened. Just happened to me right now. Temporary files also are a thing. Sometimes temporary files fail to close when you close a file originally. So that could be something that happened. But that's just off the top of my head. Yeah. And they are often hidden? Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's just go ahead and jump into this. I just become a nuisance to my ISP. It works most of the time. I'm glad it works for you. It doesn't really work so much for me. Yeah. Got a GIF of the idols. It's pretty simple, though. Attack and cast are broken at the moment, so I'm not showing anything past this. That's fine. Alright. Well, I thought you said you didn't... I thought, John Erico, you said you didn't have the main sprites. Are you just testing animations, or what? Yeah, because the mage is definitely not fitting for what I see here. But the art is cute as hell. Yes. Completely agree. Yeah, simple, but hey, it gets the job done. Testing style, animations, etc. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to do that more. I've been so bad about art style choices on my end. I still am using the what is it? I'm still using like the single, the on map left facing sprite for my battles because I'm not even there yet. How does it not fit? Would love to know. What do you mean? If you're asking about what I said, I'm saying here's the generic mage sprite, here's the generic mage portrait. They look nothing alike. That's what I'm trying to say. If that comment was directed at me. I don't mean this in a bad way at all, but they remind me of Mii's, like Mii adventure type stuff. Ah, okay. Yeah, I see that. No, I don't. Yes, I do. I was about to say, I don't see that for the mage. I see that for the rogue and reed. Kind of. Yeah, it's very simple, cartoonish style look. But yeah, there was a lot more effort put into the face of the mage here that I don't really see in Mii's. Yeah. Oh yeah, no, not the same character. Barbarian is the only actual quality portrait I have, so I wanted to have it on the original screenshot, so I can point and say, so that's the standard of quality I want for pictures later. Really? Because I think the other two portraits are just fine. I think it is kind of weird that Rogue doesn't have any lights for their eyes, but aside from that, nah, I think all the others are just fine. I got a whole 3 lines drawn today. I couldn't translate the image from my brain to paper. Yeah, I got you. That happens every now and then. Artist block. Also, why the gobos have no pants? Sprite testing, I'm assuming. You always have to start off with a naked sprite, especially if you're doing alternate outfits. I'm a bit early. Hey, welcome in, Fake Coffee. How you doing? I made them so hastily so people would stop asking why I was using RTP faces. Man, fuck them. Do they have any idea what a placeholder is? That's so silly. Like, if you're trying to specifically test art styles, then yeah. But like, I can clearly, it's easy to anyone who knows anything about game development that if you're trying to go for an art style test, but you see the RTP sprites, and you're just like, okay, well that's just a placeholder. Got bored and decided to play 5 rubles. What's that? And yeah, goblins will have custom clothes depending on their class. Yep. I miss the old placeholders from the early days of Flash games, where you'd see a gray outline of a person with whip written on them. I mean, you can do that now. You could just make them. But hey, RTP already has, completed assets, so yeah. Now, if I recall correctly, John Erico, you said something along the lines of you wanted to emulate Dragon Quest III style combat, like the HD 2D remake. Or no, not that one, the SNES. Because that's why the battle screen is on its own, like its own window, like condensed window like this. Correct me if I'm wrong there. In which case, it's pretty cool that you have the window with both the characters and the enemies. I think I dug the style of how it looked and then did my own thing. That's great. Yeah. do your having a good jumping off point, using a game that you liked and then twisting it into your own thing. Definitely respect that. You know, we all stand on the shoulders of giants, or however it is. Yeah. Lol, my placeholders are just hot pink boxes. People can love them or GTFO. I have not seen a single one of those hot pink boxes. You know, the solution is, Aaron, you need to get back into streaming so that you can show off the hot pink boxes. Because how else am I supposed to believe a statement like that? Hush. I will be loud on my own stream. You can't stop me. Nobody can stop me. I'll send you the file. Awesome. Alright, sorry for the low quality, but I'm making this again. What do you mean you're making this again? Ow. Ow, my ears. Alright. Wait. Are you doing another attack on game? Okay, no. Oh, no, you're doing a magical girl game. Except with cowboys. Were you not just making another endless runner? Holy crap, rhyme. Sheriffless town with big guns from not so distant future. Wow. Rhyme has got a few screws loose to be able to make all these different kinds of projects all at once. But you know what? Mentally stable people may not make for the best devs. You have to have some level of insanity to be able to pull off something great like this. No clue how this motherfucker makes bullet hells in RPG Maker. No idea, but that's just part of the charm, isn't it? Using a lot of plugins, a lot of tweaking, and a lot of insanity. I'm always unhinged, but a different kind of unhinged. So, therefore, unhinged. Rhyme Unhinged is another level, and it's very good. Oh yeah, we always love to see it. And so did the other judges, too, because Attack on the Kingdom did pretty well. Rhyme is a league of its own, definitely. Hey, it just takes a little creativity and a little insanity. And a vision. A vision to do what you want to do. Everyone else can do it. Gonna use this for the devlog. Can't believe I gotten to this point. Really now. Ah, mouth movements. I gotta figure out how to do that. I really think it would... Oh, wait, is that... Hello, wait a minute, that's breathing. Oh, that's not like... Wait a minute. You're not doing like the Visustella thing where the portrait itself is just like going up and down. Like you're actually having different sprites for breathing. Pose 1, pose 2. Okay. I see what you're doing here. I'm gonna look at that again. First off, love the mouth movements. Was that a, is this a plugin or what? Or, well, obviously, yeah, it has to be a plugin, but like, what I meant to say, was this like a pre-existing plugin or was this custom? What's throwing me off is the breathing. The different sprite poses for the breathing, because I'm not sure how that's handled. She got a purty mouth. Do I need to do this? Oi. Caught you lacking again. I've been using this exclusively on you for a while. In fact, now that I'm thinking about it, I should have used that way more often on Monday. Because I know some of y'all were focusing on the wrong things. Okay, so the only thing that's really sticking out to me right now is the straight line from the arcade machines. That's not how light works. They're not firing beams of light. Light expands outwards, so either put it in a cone or have it like more of a Actually, kind of like what you already have. Like that little soft glow around the screen. But yeah, that beam light needs to go. Glad I sent it, not gonna lie. I am too. I guess I already found the last one. I think I've stubbed my toe 3 times in the last 3 months. Oof. Oof. Okay, yeah, so we have some news. We have something else over here. So, granted, I don't go to bars because I do not drink. However, from an aesthetic standpoint, I would strongly recommend varying up the bottles that we have here. Because it looks way too tiley when you have the same thing, the same type of bottles stacked together like this. It can be anything else. Like you can, in fact, you don't even need to change the bottle shape. You might want to just recolor one of them. But the idea of 2 identical bottles right next to each other like this is it's a bit too tiley. Just from my experience. Also, I'm not seeing the depth that I'm seeing like for the countertop. Right? Because it looks like the perspective from the bottles are like directly facing me, the player. And on that note, I kind of see that for these 2 sprites as well. Not so much this character, which I find interesting. Like, this character looks more correct from the perspective. But the woman and the player character, they both look like they're just directly facing facing me. I see it on the arcade machines. Yeah, I'm seeing it too now that I'm getting a closer look at it. Okay, but other than that, honestly, yeah, the big thing here is, the big takeaway that I think you're trying to show off is the portraits. And yeah, great job. The other thing to keep in mind would be so I don't know exactly how much you're going to be presenting the story. Also, why are the couches wrong? What's wrong with them? They look all right to me. But anyway, the dialogue box. That's a lot of surface area that you have to cover, and depending on most players' screen size, like their distance from the screen, that's a lot of head movement. I don't know why I'm turning my head around as if you guys can see what I'm doing, but yeah. So I would recommend reducing the window of dialogue to have like the edge like right here, and then to right here. It's not a lot, admittedly, but I think that would help for the reader experience and also obscure less of the portraits, because you've done something cool here with the portraits. I don't think you should obscure them. I think you should show them off. I love to see a rigged Nova. Well, depending on your perspective on how I rate things, everything I do is rigged. Nobody needs a full motion rig. I'm good. I wouldn't be dodging the VTuber allegations if I did that. Yeah. So wait, so if I were to do that, would I actually like have to debut as a VTuber? A PNG tuber still a VTuber? Let's not like get into technical details there. I'm just a dude who's representing himself with an avatar. Yes, we are still VTubers. What do you mean we? You stream? What is this? What is this I'm looking at here? Oh, shoot. I'm stupid. I remember you. I rated you a couple of times. I'm so sorry. Derp. I remember that now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wow. I cannot believe I forgot about this. Yep. Brain. I tried rating you Monday, but you ended before I could. Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. The hell? Why am I not followed? Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. But yeah, it's a good time. Yep, brain farts. Lots of brain farts. What the hell are you guys talking about in the judges chat? Like, it was like 30 when I started, and it's been like 30 minutes, and now, oh boy. Okay, so we have this is a good one. I like the visual novel setup. So what I'm saying may not work because what I really wanted to do was reduce the amount of eye movement and head movement, especially if this is going to be a heavy story-driven game. Because by default, I'm gonna make I don't know if it's controversial or not, but I'm gonna make a little statement about the default RPG Maker window. It's too big, way too big, and because it's too big, in my opinion, it encourages a lot of devs to try and fill up that space, and they do that by making very unnecessarily wordy dialogue. So the first thing that you should do, in my opinion, is reduce the size of the text window. Just to give you guys an idea. You guys ever play a Persona game? Let's see, where is it? I know I found a better screenshot for this much later, but my point is there's like, okay, here we go. Persona is a game with a lot of dialogue. I mean, a lot of dialogue. And yet, here's how small their text boxes is. So, holy shit. The hell was that? Oh, right. Whoops, I forgot to close my other window. My bad. I was looking at... Sorry about that. Oh, that was weird. Yeah, I'll break it. No. So, I had a window open for a while because I wanted to watch a playthrough of Resident Evil Outbreak because I can't really play that anymore. But it looks like somebody, yeah, it looks like I accidentally turned that window on when I shouldn't have. Yeah. Alright. Let me just make sure I took down all the other windows, just in case. Ads. Oh, well, alright. Then I guess you guys don't even know what I'm saying. In which case, I don't have to worry about any words that are coming out of my mouth. I am the reincarnation of Jesus Christ. The world revolves around me. See, some of us get to... Anyway. Back to my point. Anyway, you guys just enjoy your snack break. Let's get Bezos back in here. Yeah. So anyway, these games have a lot of dialogue. In fact, I would say that about half the game is dialogue. And this is how small their windows are. Their dialogue windows. RPG Maker by default gives you more space to write. You don't need to use that space. In fact, just reduce it. Reduce the space. Yeah, there you are. So that's just something to think about. So, Zephyr comes in. Finished a commission today. Drew a chicken. Ah, yes. A chicken. I might look for a plugin in MV for it. For what? Reducing the text window size? That's very easy to just do on your own. You just set the... I think you can... Yeah, you can just set the... that's a turkey dop shit. Turkey dop shit. You calling... Wait, are you calling Zephyr a dop shit? Who misidentifies her own... animals? Dipshit. No, I think I like your first one. I think I like your first one better. Dop shit. I'm gonna use that from now on. You dop shit. Ads are over now. Well, welcome back, everybody. Get out of here, Bezos. Yeah. Minor spelling error. I lose? Yes, exactly. Welcome in, 10. How you doing? But yeah, I think it's also baked into message core. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is MZ or MV, but... Either way, it's pretty easy to figure out the text box size. You just got to go find it. Yeah. Just edit the dimensions. That's all you really have to do. Okay, so chicken. You can definitely see the chicken. Tasty. Looking awfully similar though. But hey, I ain't saying shit. Go play Armor of the Abyss. Do it. Do it. All of you. Yeah. It's hot here too? Well, sorry, but you're stuck with me for another 3 hours. Yeah. I see a Garurumon. You know, I've been really wanting to get into the new Digimon game. Sorry, not a new one. The Digimon's Cyber Sleuth, Hacker's Memory. I got that for free for PlayStation Plus. I just never really got into it, but I've heard nothing but good things from you guys about it. Cyber Sleuth base is so fucking good. Like, holy shit. So when you say base, you mean like the original Cyber Sleuth? Because the only one I got was the sequel, Hacker's Memory. That's the one that was free on PlayStation Plus. Yeah. Now who's hitting on me? I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you, Ten, that you're gonna have to put up with me for a little bit. Hacker's Memory has both? Really? Okay. Yeah, let's see. My Digimon experience has been very limited compared to Pokemon, at least. Because it was one of those things where you got bullied for liking, just like Pokemon, but I eventually picked up Pokemon, so I never picked up Digimon again, but I remember dropping it after like the 3rd season. I think it was like, shoot, what was it? It was like, it had 3 characters rather than like the usual like 6 or 8. And, what was it? Like the main Digimon was like a red, it looked like Agumon, but it was like a red dinosaur. I can't remember. I do not remember anything about it. I just remember that it was a really cool, it had a really cool aesthetic, and I honestly really liked the tone and style more than I liked Pokemon. But, you know, it being elementary school, if you were into that sort of thing, you were gay and a freak. That's obviously not true, right? I have women all over me, like right now even. But and you guys just don't hear them or see them, but they're there, trust me. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, is that Guilmon? Is that what it was? Okay, Tamers. Okay, yeah, gotcha. I 1000% recommend Cyber Sleuth, even if you don't like Digimon. Well, that's great, because I've already got, what was it? I've got Xenoblade X. I'm going through. I need to start the new Rune Factory, because I got that, and then I have Clair Obscure. But all I really care about is Clair Obscure. But there's a new one coming out in like 4 months. So, yeah. Rune Factory has me completely enthralled. Yeah, that's me for Clair Obscure. Like, I cannot think about any other video game right now, because I'm just so hooked. Yeah. But I can't wait to get out of one addiction and then dive headfirst into another one, because that's just how this is going to work. I was researching Digimon World 2 for my game, and they got me. I'm hooked. Still got barely any idea what anything means, but I'm getting there. Awesome. Anyway, so yeah, there is a chicken, a Digimon chicken here. And then this is clearly a Digimon eagle. Yeah. Very smoothly animated though. But man, it is that's hawked up shit. Fine, you got me. It's a hawk. Now, this is interesting, and I've already mentioned this before, but this is one of those things where it's like, yeah, look at how smooth this pixel art is. But I definitely appreciate, how smooth the motion is. Now, I've already talked about how mixed I am on the idea of, like, that really smooth animation, because it's true that, like, when you look at it from this angle, yeah, it looks fine. But just like you see all sorts of distortion that's happening here, where the lines themselves are just kind of breaking up, that it doesn't look, it looks weird upon inspection, but honestly, it's not really a deal breaker. And especially since now that I know how Zephyr animated it, yeah, I think it's just one of those necessary evils to just capture the smooth animation that you see here. So it's fine. It really is. I should just be grateful that I'm not seeing any pixel art distortion as well, because I saw some games in the contest that tried to do something similar to this, but the cost of that was that the pixel size kept distorting. Like some pixels got larger, some got smaller, and it looked like a complete mess. So in comparison, this looks godlike. So yeah, I get that. Good job. So I'm not sure what's this. Oh, it's a time lapse. Ooh, I always appreciate these. I don't know if it's just because you've been doing this for a long time, or if it's because what is it? If it's because your mistakes or your corrections are never recorded. But I'm noticing there's not a lot of fixing. Like you draw like one line and then there you go. It's done. My mistakes are recorded, then you're not making a lot of them. And that's really cool. You can see me redo the hands. Yeah. I started working on it last night and this morning. I only hit time lapse, so not complete, sorry. Who cares? Doesn't need to be complete. Just needs to do the job. I was doing them from memory, look at reference, and redid them. Interesting how you color that in with the shadow first. Not that I'm like trying to criticize your process, but I just find it interesting that if you look at the finished piece, yeah, it looks like the primary color is the shade, with this being the highlights, but it looks like just looking at the process is the exact opposite. Not criticizing that or anything, I just thought that was interesting to note. Depends how much show I want to do. I can't write. Depends on how much shadow I want to do. Yeah. Well, regardless, I'm loving how this looks. Good job. And that's it. Wow. All right. Man, it must be nice, like, to stick it to the non-believers who thought I couldn't get through all this. Couldn't get through, like, the month and a half in, like, one stream. But hey, here we are. All right, so what are we doing? Next up, we are going to be doing some highlights. Some actual highlights this time. So which ones are we going to do? So I know the contest is already over. The scores have already been shown. But I still have some games to highlight. Even games that did not even make a place. That didn't even get placed in the top 50. Because there are some games I think just are worth talking about. So we're going to do that. I don't know if I'm actually going to be... Well, again, I'm just going to go through the... You know what? Screw it. I'm going to start with some of the games that I already had highlighted, that I already had planned to highlight on my list. And then, yeah, need to prep stuff. I wish you well tidings, like all the cheese falling off your pizza. Why do you hate us so much, part-time experience? Grabs coffee maker and jumps out the window. No problem. Have a good one, man. All right, so let's do this one. Someone ban this guy. Exactly. How dare you? wishing that cheese falls off my pizza. Is there not a more chaotic individual out there? So, quick question. How many of you guys played Disco Elysium? You know what really stuck out to me as from Disco Elysium? The concept of failing forward. Doing the best that you can with RNG. And sometimes the life just does not want to go your way, and then you just have to make the most of it. The game that we're about to play takes that concept and just runs with it. A Bureaucrat's Judgment. I forgot to grab the... Wait, hang on. I forgot to grab the link. Because I closed my scores. And there you go. Okay. Those that want it. So, Bureaucrat's Judgment basically takes the concept of doing the best you can with what you've got, which is a nice little parallel to real life. Sometimes you can't always do the best, but you can do the best with what you've got. Go beyond expectations. You know what? I shouldn't even mock that because it was subtle. Unlike a lot of other games that we played. Martin stepped out into the rain, clutching his umbrella. He was running late. He hoped the bus was similarly behind schedule in the soggy morning. And here it is. Here's the gameplay. Commute to work. Goal, all dice above 1. Challenge, get 1/6. Roll the dice and see how Martin's luck pans out. Achieving the goal results in a basic success. Alternatively, risk the challenge for even better results. Failing a check is not the end. Fail forward. So, here we go. I don't know why it gives us an option to change items. I know that's supposed to be like, this is basic gameplay. You're going to have this option everywhere, but there's no items to change. And there you go. This is a simple luck check. Martin's luck competency is 2. This means he can re-roll a die 2 times after the initial roll. Checks will use different competencies. Martin may find items that influence his competencies. Okay. Martin rolled a 5, 1, and a 3. Well, the goal is all dice is above 1. Okay, well, we have one that is 1, so let's just go ahead and re-roll that one. That's a 5. Well, we still want to do the challenge, so let's just go ahead and try it out. Another 5. Well then, I guess we didn't quite exceed expectations, but hey, we met him. Martin saw the bus approaching. He exhaled, just in time. He pulled out his wallet and drew out a credit for the fare. Martin shook water off the umbrella as he stepped into the office. Piper was already at the front desk and waved eagerly. "Good morning, Martin." He gave a half wave back. Huh, it's a more lively workplace than what I see. Move with arrows or WASD. Interact with enter or space. Open menu with escape. And there you go. The banners were a new installment mandated by the popular will. Vigilance, obedience, austerity. The Vice Office of Analytics' second namesake. Hardly sounded popular to Martin. That's just 2 phrases away from being the umbrella motto. A filing cabinet full of pending work. Martin dreaded it arriving on his desk. A photo of the new Prime Minister loomed above. Management. It's been weeks since Martin had last heard a word from management. Now it's just daily memos left on his desk, outlining VOA's latest shifting agenda. The sound of paper shuffling could be heard through the door, but no one answered. Nah, fuck it, we're knocking again. A muffled voice, strained, called out through the door. "I'm in a meeting, come back later." Let's do it again. Martin, not to be deterred, knocked again. It was time for some answers. "Meeting," came the response. Martin grumbled inaudibly. Another day with management hiding away. "I think they're in a meeting," Piper offered helpfully. There was no point in knocking again. Management wasn't really in control now. The managers cannot manage, huh? That's a shame. In the top cabinet, Martin found a first aid kit. Never bad to have that on hand. Martin acquired a first aid kit. So the thing that I'm going to point out, is the fact that items are colored, which is one of the few things in this game that's actually colored, which I found interesting. So this game does something similar to Dead City that we've seen, where it has a very monochrome art style. But unlike Dead City, as far as I remember, this game may make a liar out of me later, but unlike Dead City, you do not need to be able to see these colors in order to tell what's going on. There's no color requirement for any gameplay management. So that's why this game gets a pass. Even if a colorblind person would not be able to tell the difference. I think that sucks, but I think it's far worse that you wouldn't be able to tell the difference in color for something that's required for gameplay. Items can be equipped in the menu. Pens offer special abilities for influencing the initial roll. Other items increase Martin's competencies. Yep. Okay. Martin's trusty and well-used pen. Office supplies were monitored. So that doesn't really do anything for me. Okay. Accessory, first aid kit. Always useful in emergency. Increases collaboration competency. Okay. Good stuff. Julia's desk, the other survivor of the office purge. She always arrived as late as allowed. Martin wondered how just two of them could keep up with the workload. Yeah. Isaac's desk, former desk more accurately. His voice had boomed through the entire office. It had been impossible not to listen. Now Martin found he missed it. He noticed something beneath the desk. Martin kneeled down and reached under the desk. He pulled up a small, squishy ball. Isaac's stress ball. He could recall the veins bulging on Isaac's forehead whenever he was dealing with a difficult case. Martin acquired a stress ball. Oh, look at that, another accessory. Increased service competency. That's alright. You don't need to worry too much about getting the right equipment for the right job, because as we've seen at the beginning, you can always change your equipment before any kind of check. So you don't have to worry, just collect stuff. Shelves filled with policy, regs, and a few books on management styles. Okay. Martin stood before the staff lockers, each with a name affixed. No one had bothered to remove the tags on Roland's and Isaac's. Okay, what's my locker look like? Martin noticed his government ID laying on top of his lunchbox. He'd been looking all over for it this morning. Martin acquired his government ID. Well, isn't that just nice? Julia's locker was locked. Isaac's locker was completely empty. Martin looked over Roland's locker. At first it seemed empty. Then he noticed a pair of reading glasses at the back. Martin took them. Maybe he could return them to Roland. Martin acquired reading glasses. And that's that. Yeah, you're going to want to be doing a lot of exploration in this game, because if you just follow the critical path, you're going to be missing out on a lot of items that could help you out. Roland's cube, empty now. Roland's kitsch and clutter. Roland had been a new hire who had proudly announced his vote for the popular will. His termination notice came a week after they took power. Ouch. Martin noticed a pen sitting on the shelf in the cubicle. He took it. Roland won't be needing that now. Martin gained the Jotter. Just out of curiosity, what does that one do? Automatically adds 1 to each die on initial roll. Oh, that's a pretty good one. Martin looked above the sink at the picture. It was a painting of a girl in a red hood, halberd in hand, standing before n grave-looking king. That's not right. Martin wasn't sure when it had been hung or by whom, but it felt distinctly out of place for an office. The office coffee pot was nearly empty with yesterday's coffee. Martin dumped it out and started a fresh batch. Martin didn't dare open the fridge. He still remembered the last time. What was the last time? You're never gonna know. Hey, Trikia, welcome in. Hi, Nova and other criminals? Yes. Out here just committing crimes over here. The crimes of continuing to play more RPG Maker games after the contest was already over. But because this is my stream and I can do whatever I want, yeah, y'all just... you know what? On the subject of doing whatever I want, I think I completely forgot to make the announcement on the... on this. Okay, yeah, bear with me a second. We're gonna be doing that. Oh my god, wow. I need to update that first post. Wow. Whoops. Okay, yeah, we're gonna be doing that. We're gonna be doing that. Oh wow. Okay, there we go. And post. Just in case. Now, where were we? Oh yes. Alright. Now I guess it's time to go back to work. Martin arrived at his desk. The dreadful pile of paperwork seems to have doubled overnight. Yeah, whatever. Get to work. First in, first out, Martin thought to himself. Martin pulled the top file off his desk. A budget analysis from the Office of Budgetary Oversight on the Erie Apartments. A single note on it read ambiguously, Top Priority Management. He took a sip from his coffee mug and spat it back. Yesterday's cold coffee. There was no helping it. He'd best start looking over the budget report. What was the best approach? Okay. So now, we have a decision to make. Technical, communication, or luck. Dice under 5. Challenge total above 13. Okay, simple enough. So, one issue that I had with this game was I wasn't sure, out of all the equipment that I got, which one I had the best chance of handling. But it's one of those things, but because there are what looks like several different, what's what I'm looking for? Several different varieties of options. It's kind of hard to tell what the right choice here is. As a player, I felt like it would be better to at least know what I'm capable of, so that I could. So I'd like to look at my equipment before I make these kinds of decisions. But sometimes there's something to say about not being able to know everything, but at the same time, like, maybe at this point they want me to just go with my gut. Hey, see what I want to do, like what I think is the best way to approach it. Because frankly, for a first playthrough, and this is my second playthrough, so I don't really know what the differences are. I would like it, I feel like if you're gonna let me check my equipment anyway, I feel like I should know beforehand what my best chances were. But sure. For the record, unfortunately, I don't remember which one I checked. I think I did focus on details first, but I honestly don't remember. Yeah, normally I like to tell devs what my choices were when I start, but yeah, it's been a while since I played this one, so I don't quite remember. So, let's do details. Best to wade into the weeds. Those details would be key to understanding the case. Okay, so here's where things get really interesting, because now, unlike the first challenge that you had, you have to take a risk. Because all dice under 5, which meant that to meet the goal, you have to have no more than 4 for each dice, which is 12. So to complete the challenge, total above 13, you have to be able to fail the goal. I like that. Because now it means that you have to start thinking about your... you have to start thinking about, hey, what are you really risking here? So let's change our items. So I think I'm doing... What was it? Oh, yeah, it doesn't remind you what your... which check you're trying to run here. It gives you your goal, but it doesn't really check. It doesn't remind you which check you're trying to do. But yeah, it was technical. But there we go. I do have one that can boost my technical competency. All right, good to know. The Jotter automatically adds 1 to each die on the initial roll. Yeah, I think that's good because that may help us get it to above 13 easier. So let's do it. Okay, 13, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, wow. All right, we got it. Got it in 1. Man, all right, cool. All right, because we even more because we had to apply the pen here. All right, well, that was easy enough. Performance evaluation. Review the oboe's budget analysis. Exceeded expectations. Very nice to say, hey, you didn't go it didn't say beyond expectations. I appreciate that. For the record, just for the devs' knowledge, I did get what I believe was the best ending. In fact, hang on. Let me open up my my feedback thing because I'm pretty sure I had a screenshot of the best ending, and I just want to make sure that I got that. Hey, Bureaucrat's judgment. Let me look for that. Where are you? Where are you? There you are. Okay. Yes. Okay. I got ending 8 of 8. And only the dev or people that played the game knows what that was. Who knows? We'll try and get that today, but at the same time, this is a game that is heavily reliant on RNG and encourages you to fail forward. So, yeah. There's a good chance that the rolls just will not go my way. So. Piper's voice chirped. A Miss Rees would like a word with you. She's a resident of the Erie Apartments. From the Erie? That didn't bode well. Martin replied. Go ahead and send her back. He watched the woman approach, anxiety carved on her face. She clutched a flyer in one hand. He greeted her, introducing himself, and offered her a seat. What can I do for you, Miss Rees? I like that. There's actual animation, or sprite pose for this. Appreciate that. Please, just Lucia. Thank you for seeing me. I think there is some mistake. We received this notice that the Erie is being closed down. She extended the flyer towards Martin. He glanced over it. Notice to all residents, this property is being closed. Vacate by Friday. Thank you. Vice Office of Analytics. Another piece clicked into place for Martin. VOA. He frowned and looked up at Lucia. How should he respond? With a period. VOA had gone over the housing authority's head on this, but it appeared he'd be the one who'd had to deal with it. All dice under 6. Challenge 1-6. Well, that's easy enough. Okay, defend the closure. Discuss her options. Well, clearly, we should well, yeah, so this is a weird choice because it's saying that, hey, someone screwed you, like someone went over your head, but now you have the option to defend that. On one hand, you should probably do your best to, like, unify with the government, but on the other hand, if your job is to help citizens, then, yeah, I feel like there really is only one choice to make here. In fact, yeah, this one I remember. I went with discuss her options. So, I don't know what difference this will make if I choose to defend the closure, so... screw it, let's do it. I'm afraid it is not a mistake, Miss Rees. Sorry, Lucia. Let me try to explain. Time to see what he'd taken away from his review of the budget analysis. Alright, all dice under 6. Challenge 1-6. Okay, so. We have, what was it? Representation? I think it was representation that I had. Because it was not service. That one I'm sure. 1-6. Do I want to boost? Well, I mean, actually, yeah. Wait, this is one that is very difficult to fail. Because yeah, if all dice have to be under 6, well, 6 is the highest you can go. So, yeah. All right, let's do it. Well, that was easy enough. 1-6. Okay, so just why not? Just keep. Like, at this point, this is a weird challenge because it's like you have you have nothing to risk. You have absolutely nothing to risk. I failed, but yeah. Martin listed off the various stats and figures detailed in the report. Lucia shifts uneasily as he peppered her with all the costs associated with her residence. Is it just me, or does the bottom part of the S seem to cut off there? Is this game Yahtzee the visual novel? Close enough. I don't know if you've ever played Disco Elysium, but yeah, these games have very similar concepts. As Martin finished, Lucia waited a moment before she said, I don't know if I follow all those numbers, but we're more than that. We are people too, like you. Martin's job was to represent the agency. It was time to bring this meeting to a close. Martin paused for a moment and said, Unfortunately, while it may be difficult to understand, the housing subsidy you received has been found too much of a burden for the government to maintain. That all said, the notice you received came from VOA, not us. The housing authority has final jurisdiction, and until you receive a notice from us, it's not official. I'm still reviewing the case, and we will notify you of our final action. For the moment, you can disregard that notice. Lucia started to say something, stopped, then got up. She turned back and said, We are a community, doing our best. Please just come and see the people that your decision affects before you finalize it. Martin replied, I plan to do just that, Miss Reyes. A building inspection is required before any final adjudication can be made. I should be by tomorrow. Martin looked back down at the budget report on his desk and top priority memo. VOA was behind this, and while it was true the housing authority had actual jurisdiction, it felt like the decision has already been reached. For the moment, he needed to stretch his legs. Oh hey, the office has changed. Julia looked up at Martin. Hey, I overheard your conversation with that woman. Did VOA really issue an eviction order? Martin nodded. Seems so. Julia exclaimed, That's absurd. Who do they think they are? Martin looked over his shoulder. Julia continued, now hushed. You're right, I should keep my voice down. One of those VOA goons is in with management right now. But it's just absurd what they are doing. Yeah, Martin agreed. It's frustrating. I don't know what I'm going to do with this Erie case. I don't know if there's any other option other than to rubber stamp the eviction. Julia gave a strained look. It's like they want to do our jobs without actually knowing what we do. And also they don't actually want to do our jobs. She looked past Martin, then turned towards the window and said loudly, Looks like the rain slowed down. Martin took the cue. Sure does. Softer again, Julia said, Hey, I think I'll grab a drink after work. You should join me. Martin replied, Yeah, that might work. Let's see how the rest of the day goes. Julia gave a sharp nod. Back to it. Well then. No one informed Nova the jam is over? Nope, I guess I forgot. Wait, yeah, sorry. I come from the past. I'm just here showing off games that I think would be pretty cool. Yeah. This Bureaucrat's Judgment game seems alright. I wonder if it'll do well. Anyway, Julie's locker was locked. Okay, there was one other locker that I wanted to open up, but I guess not. Anyway, so yeah, the coffee in the pot had grown cold. We just wasted all that coffee. Come on, man. I went here trying to make some coffee in the morning, and then I just didn't. I didn't go in and get more. That sucks. let us, continue on. We want to go talk to management or what? Oh. As Martin approached, Piper flagged him. Management wants to see you. Martin nodded. Now they wanted to talk. Good morning, Martin. I'm sure you have a lot on your plate today, but I could use some help if you can spare a minute. What do you need? The fridge. It needs cleaned out, and it'll go a lot faster if we work together. Martin shuddered. The office fridge. It certainly did need cleaning, but he was an adjudicator. Was cleaning a good use of his time? I mean, yeah, sure, why not? We can, collaborate. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I don't know why I started reading that silently. That was weird. Martin agreed to help. They headed to the break room. The fridge loomed large and ominous before them, its motor humming insolently. Piper looked to Martin and gulped. They nodded and set upon it. Am I going to get a chance to roll? Ah, there we go. I was wondering what was going on. Okay, collaboration, right? Let's go. There you are. Total under 12, all odd. I don't think how the jotter is going to help us here, because, yeah. Let's just do that. Okay, that is not great. We have 2 that are even. Total under 12, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm pretty good. Come on. Come on. There we are. Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Just achieved expectations. They had done a decent job. It was certainly usable again. Piper held up a crumpled tie. I found this in the freezer. I don't have any use for it, but it seems a shame to toss it out. Also, don't think I'm not noticing that. Don't think I'm not noticing that Piper is completely missing her legs right there. I assume that the dev placed her there so that it wouldn't be as noticeable that Piper had no legs, but admittedly, I didn't notice that when I first... Oh, right, you guys can't see. Hang on. Yeah. Right there. Yep, there's no legs. Piper has no legs. Yikes. But yeah, it makes sense, I guess. Because, not every... you don't have to... Like, it would not help the game too much if it... Busted. Hey, Rubiskin. Welcome in. How you doing? But that's all right. These things happen. I get you. Wait, hold on. Sorry about that. But hey, good news is, Rubiskin, we didn't notice it. I didn't notice it my first time through. Book 'em? Yeah, evict her. Yeah, throw the book at her. Get her thrown out. But how you doing? Martin raised an eyebrow. Why was a tie in the freezer? Still, it was a fine tie, and in good enough shape. One could never have too many ties. He took it off her hands. Martin acquired a green paisley tie. Cool. So what are we going to do with the tie? Increase service competency. Okay, good to know. So let's do this. I'm not going to do any save scumming. I actually didn't save scum the first time. I was actually able to get through everything, but it's good to have... I save before every choice, so if I ever wanted to go back and check things out, I could. But yeah. Come on in, came a voice through the door. Also, yeah, you learn very quickly when playing these games that you need to make multiple saves everywhere, because just in case there's a soft lock. Hawk save scummed? Ah, unbelievable Hawk. How dare you play this like Disco Elysium? But that is interesting to note, though. We can talk about that a little bit later. But Martin entered the office. His manager, Dana, sat at his desk, looking down. In the corner, another man, barely more than teen. That's not English. Reclined against the shelf, a smug look on his face. You wanted to see me? Martin said. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, he said that. You wanted to see me, period. Dana looked up. Ah, yes, Martin. How's the work coming? Always so busy around here, isn't it? Yeah, always more to do. I assume you want to talk about the Erie case, Martin said. So, I've got a couple of minds on this. One, he didn't say that this time. This was a question. So you should probably replace said with asked or something like that. But depending on how often we see the word said here, it's we need to we'll make a note of that. Help me remember that. The Erie case, that doesn't immediately come to mind, but we can talk about it if it's on yours. If it's not, then why did you call me in here? Okay. The man in the corner spoke. Ah, yes. I assume that closure can be wrapped up with no issue. Ah, piss off. I'm not sure closure is the appropriate action. I don't see how it aligns with policy. Policy, came the reply, drenched with irony. Policy is the whole problem with you government types. Always hiding behind it so you don't have to work. I mean, you're not wrong, but hey, in a case like this, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He continued, you've seen the OBO analysis. This project is a definition of waste, dumping hundreds of thousands a year into some building so degenerates don't have to work. There's a mandate. The people are done with these handouts to those who drink from the government faucet. So you should be asking yourself, are you with the people's will or against them? I'm with the people's will or I'm with the people. Similar sounding choices, but with very different connotations behind them. I'm with the people. Good, so figure out the policy and get it done, the man replied. Martin nodded and looked at Dana. Anything else you need to see me for? No, I think you're doing great. Keep it up. Martin turned to leave when the man in the back added coyly. Oh, and be sure to report any fraud or waste you see around the office. We need to know who is on board. Remember, friend, vigilance, obedience, austerity. Now fuck off. Martin spent the rest of the day reviewing the Erie file and closure policies. Tomorrow he would need to conduct a property inspection. It finally came time for him to clock out. Julia called to him as he passed by. The lamp at 7 p.m. Sound good? Yeah, let's do it. So choices like these kind of make you wonder, this is a game all about choice and making the best that you can. Sometimes you just work with what you've got, because sometimes life just doesn't go your way. Choices like that, it's like, hey, do you want to meet with her or do you not? Admittedly, I probably should go back and I remember always accepting that invitation, and I probably should have not done that now just to see something different. But when you give choices like that, in a game all about choices and doing the best that you can, it's weird how there's very little, like some choices are just very obviously you should do them. Like when you give a choice in a game like this, I always feel like you should have a good reason to choose one or the other. Back the previous choice that we had, obedience, like whatever, the umbrella slogan, is like, okay, the meaning behind either choice is, hey, do you want to act like you're, another corporate, head, or do you want, not corporate head, yeah, you just want to suck up to the guy, or do you just want to nod and just tell him to piss off? I get the reason behind both choices there, but here, what possible reason is there to decline the invitation? I'm not making a decision. I'm not sacrificing something. So the thing about choices in choice-based games is that you have to... There's a difference between making a choice, or selecting an option, and making a decision. And making a decision in this case, from what I've seen, you just lose content. Unless Julia insists that we go, and then we go with there anyway, in which case, what's the point? So again, I'd have to see what happens if you decline the invitation, but it is something to think about. Maybe there is content that I wouldn't see in any other scenario. However, that's not made apparent here. So when I see that choice, I'm just like, why in the world would I ever not make that choice? Why in the world would I ever decline that invitation? So here we are. Martin descended the stairs into the cool basement. The lamp was a dim, mildewy cellar, which slightly made up for its dungeon-esque atmosphere by having a decent selection of craft beer. At the end of the bar, he could see Julia sitting, glowing in the eponymous light of a street lamp that the owner had somehow smuggled in here. Again, it looks... That's weird. It looks almost like the U there was cut off. But whatever. He was clearly drunk. He grabbed Martin's hand and pressed a thin wooden object into it, slurring. Looks like you'll need this more than me. Martin pulled away and looked at the object he held. A pencil. Martin acquired the pencil. He offered it back to the man, who shook his head. Alright, good stuff. Can change the result of one die to a random number. Hopefully you get to choose which die that is. Today I undertale. I didn't know undertale was a verb. Alright, cool. The man was hitting on the bartender. Very nice. And I can see how successful that the man is by the fact that she just completely ignores him. But sure. Julia looked up at Martin and waved to the seat across from her. I took the liberty of ordering us a pitcher. Martin took a seat and poured himself a glass. After a minute of small talk, Julia leaned in and said, "This VOA situation is a problem, right?" Major problem. I don't think it's a problem, actually. Again, maybe there's not a lot of there's not a lot of room you can put a lot of information on this, but again, why would this not be a problem? The game already made it clear that this decision was made without our knowledge and without the VOA went above our heads. Why would this not be a problem? And besides, we agreed with Julia to come here, knowing full well that we were going to talk about this situation. This seems weird that this is even a choice to me. Anyway, so I chose a major problem. I might as well just try and see if I can repeat what I did last time, since I've already made the commitment now. I'm also making concepts for a certain RPG idea I had. Nice. Keep it up. VOA was making decisions without consulting the people who had to do the work. And on top of that, downsizing the workforce itself. Yeah, it looks like the T is being cut. Yeah, there's a lot of instances where it looks like the text is being cut off. Maybe that's just my monitor. This Erie situation was only the tip of the iceberg. Martin groused about what they were doing to the Erie, how he felt he had no choice but to go along. Julia listened, observing him carefully. After he finished, she took a sip of her beer and said, "Let's do something about it." But what could be done? Conspiracy afoot. All over 3. Challenge 3 of any kind. Okay, that's a good one. So just since the dev is here now, I don't know how long the dev has been here, so let me repeat a point that I made earlier. You can eventually take a look at your scores, right? You can eventually, take a look at your equipment, like change your gear. So I appreciate that you let us, you're showing our stats right here. I'm not sure why we weren't able to look at our gear beforehand, before we actually commit to one of these ideas. Because if I wanted to go for the skill that I had the highest chance of succeeding, I'm not saying that would make or break, but it would certainly influence my decision. And because you're letting us change equipment anyway, it does seem kind of odd that you have to commit to one of these skills checks before you can actually change your gear. But okay, so I have 1 for collaborate, 1 for technical, 1 for luck. I don't think I have a luck. I don't think I have anything that boosts my luck. So, let's see. Brainstorm a plan, propose an idea. I'm not really sure what the difference is. I feel like both of these will end up in the same destination. And depending on how Julia responds. Also, okay, yeah, depending on how Julia responds, she could end up in the same place as everywhere else. Screw it. Let's brainstorm a plan. 2 heads were greater than 1. That's why we're here, right? Okay, all over 3. Well, that's a pretty easy one to do. Automatically adds 1 to each initial die roll. Let's see. So I want, collaboration. I have nothing else that can boost my collaboration. So yeah, all right, let's go. Yeah, I'm working on an update with that. Not sure why I didn't think to put the equip option earlier either. Well, you know what? I have in my feedback another, I don't want to say issue, but another concern that I have with the equipment. So when we beat this game, or rather when we get to Martin's apartment, I can talk about that. But hey, sometimes it happens, you know. Players make brain farts, devs make brain farts. Stuff that seems very obvious in retrospect is... I mean, it's easy to say that in retrospective, but, you know, when you're in the moment, sometimes those ideas just don't come. Because you're too busy on trying to figure out how best to implement the rest of these scenes. So I get it. It happens. Okay, 3 of any kind. All over 3. Well, that's 2 problems. Oh, there we go. Okay, over 3. That's not going to do great. All right, so we have this one. Aha! There we are. We've got 2 of a kind. Give me a 6. Give me 6. Give me 6. Oh, crap. Uh-oh. Whoops. They dove into brainstorming, but found themselves talking over each other and disagreeing on the best course. The pitcher was still half full when Julia threw up her hands and said, "It's a good enough start." Martin agreed. He was tired. Julia looked at him and said, "Just so we're clear on this plan, if I'm to leak a story to..." What plan? Wait, what do you mean what plan? We just started. If I'm to leak a story to my friend in the press, that was part of the plan? I'm pretty sure that was, Now I know I didn't fail this one. In fact, hang on, let me check. Let me open this one up and just make sure. Perform below expectations. Okay, I'm looking at my final stats from my first playthrough. Perform below expectations on 1 task. I did that, so I failed 1 task. I'm 99% sure it wasn't this one. Also, that quotation is misplaced. So many typos. Again, it happens. Anyway, yeah, it is super weird that we just kind of dove back into the original plot line. Because, yeah, we did not talk about discussing leaking anything to the press. I feel like if you don't want to divert from that idea, you should probably have that discussed beforehand, before the roll, so that no matter how we end up hashing out this plan, the press leak was going to be discussed, always. The conspirators split the tab and head to their respective homes. I mean, more like the failed conspirators. Martin awoke, rose from bed, and got dressed. He would head to the Erie today to do his inspection. But first, he needed to pick an outfit for the day. Martin looked into his dresser to find a good outfit for the day ahead. So this is one thing that I was thinking about, which is... Now, let me see if I can put my notes here. Okay. So, I know this game was compared to Disco Elysium a lot, and I agree with those comparisons, for good and for bad. Because one of the weird things about Disco Elysium was whenever you had to do a check, there was always that moment where you just kind of stopped, opened up your inventory, and then reorganized all your stuff. Like re-equipped all your stuff just to give you the best chance of succeeding that check. Now we're doing a mixture of that. Because you have the tie, you have the accessory, you have the pen. But it's the clothes that you can only decide at the start of your day? I feel like that's a bit weird. Now, I like the idea that you're going for here, because you get basically an overview of what you're trying to do. And you're like, okay, I'm going to be going to inspect somewhere, right? That's a pretty technical thing. You know, maybe I should try and boost my technical as best as I can. Or maybe I'm going to be spending a lot of time talking to people, in which case the representation or collaboration or communication would be the best way to go. But it seems weird that you can edit your gear for everything except for your clothes. And I feel like, and this is just, I'm just spitballing here, so feel free to ignore this, but I like the idea of preparing yourself accordingly beforehand, because it involves you just paying attention to what you're doing and then try and prepare yourself for the best case scenario, or try and prepare yourself in such a way that lets you adapt. You know, do you prepare your gear, including your shirt, your tie, whatever else you had? What was it? That could work. I don't know what that was. Okay, clothes and tie. Yeah. I was thinking of all things, accessory in general, maybe, accessory and the pen might be something you can still change depending on the situation. But I always thought it would be nice. Yeah, okay, it really makes no statement, so yeah, more service always. It just feels weird that somehow the clothes are the one thing that you have to commit to at the start of every day. I don't really understand the mentality behind that. Everything else, you basically have to stop and reorganize your entire setup, except for the clothes. So I don't really know why this is the one that you have to commit to, but everything else is left up to flexibility. So I feel like we need to commit to one or the other. Like, it's already weird enough that stopping and then changing my tie is somehow going to help me pass a luck check or whatever. So why not just go all the way with it? You know, why not just change clothes? It's a good point. I felt like it was weird to change clothes in the middle of a check, but I suppose switching a tie is weird. It is. Yeah, definitely weird. But just like so I don't know how misplaced the Disco Elysium comparisons are. It's like, we're assuming that this game is drawing heavily from it, but Disco Elysium was perfectly fine to get weird. Like, it had no problems just getting absolutely absurd. As anyone who has played like 30 seconds of Disco Elysium is well aware of. So why not just commit to it? So commit to allowing us to change our everything, or make players nervous, like increase a little bit of tension and allow players to kind of take their own, what they want to approach. Take their own approach. Be like, hey, I want to diversify my points so I can make myself flexible, or I think this is going to be primarily a technical job. I'm going to spec to technical. Of all things to allow you to equip before every check, I think the pen needs to be, you should be able to keep changing the pen, because that has very real effects on your rolls. And because you don't really know what kind of checks you're going to have beforehand, I think that level of flexibility is needed. Everything else, I think you should go one way or the other. I don't think you should do both. So, with that being said, if I remember correctly, when I first did this playthrough, I went with Cardigan for communication, because that's what this was primarily going to be about. So let's just do that. Disco is definitely an influence, but also want to shout out the Salt Keep on Itch, which definitely had an influence on this too. Cool. I have not heard about the Salt Keep, so appreciate you letting us know. Crap. What did I do? Ah, yeah, okay. So closing out of this. Oh, so, okay, so, wait. So closing out of this is... Oh, no. Okay, so that's what's going on here. If you cancel out of this, it looks like you didn't disable the cancel button. Because if you click cancel, it's going to choose classy button down. So even if you have something else highlighted, if you press cancel, it's still the classic button down. Yeah, that's how it is by default. Always the best choice, right? Yeah, I've seen a few games that did that, and for games that you can't go back and recheck, redo that choice, yeah, that's a problem. Also noting the slight little error in the tile set right here. Something to keep in mind. Looks like the tiles went right over the border here, but the extra one, the filler here was not added. So, yeah, and looks like we're missing the bottom of the roof right there. Busted again. Don't worry about it. We classified those as minor errors. Like, even like I noticed these my first time through, but it's just like, whatever. They didn't hamper the experience in any way, so it's like, yeah, I personally speaking, I didn't take any points off for that, but we said on the not the judges panel, the judging criteria, minor bugs are expected and will not be penalized. So I consider this a minor bug. So yeah, you're good. The paper was open to the classified section. Martin had circled several job postings in different colors. Martin picked up the pen that lay atop the paper. Martin acquired the multi-pen. What does that one do? Can change the result of one die to an even number. Excellent. Minor errors aren't so bad until a cave-in happens, then it's life or death. Yeah, that's true. On the plus side, you really get to know your homies. Above the counter, he had hung a couple paintings, a train approaching the station, shrouded in moonlight, a flame burning brightly in the darkness. A cat, dog, spirit, and robot embarking on an adventure together. Should be another comma after spirit. Grabbed a snack bar to go from the pantry. Oh, too bad that's not an accessory. It was raining outside. What a surprise. Alright, yeah, so... Martin strolled up to the Erie, an old structure built decades past, its thick concrete slabs remembering a distant era. Martin couldn't recall if he had ever been to District 7 before, a side of the city best forgotten. The inspection was mandatory, but policy was vague on what exactly inspection entailed. He looked down the block and set about it. I do appreciate that you have to point out where Martin is, because of the monochrome art style and Martin's generic makeup, generic outfit that just doesn't stand up. It doesn't stand out. The graffiti had once read, "Repent," but someone had written over the second half, "Paint." Martin chuckled and made a note. Martin carefully stepped around the trash bags. The smell of rot emanated. He scratched a note on his notepad. Yeah, everything here is a note. I wonder if you go straight into the Erie, like you miss all these notes. And I think I remember these notes being important, but I don't quite remember how much of an influence that they have. Yeah. Devils was the name of a prominent street gang, infamous in District 7. Martin made a note. Oh look, the shadow is smoking. Martin noted the woman smoking next to the no smoking sign. And who's just kind of sitting there doing nothing, so loitering as well. But hey, best not to give Martin any more ammo. The faint smell of gas lingered around the pipe. He made a note. Martin approached the officer. He seemed to be keeping an eye on the surveyor. Move along, nothing to see here. Oh, really? Alrighty then. Again, this is one of those things where it's like, what happens if you just move along? Like, what happens if you fail this conversation? Like, what possible reason would you have to not try and get more information out of him? Speed running? Well, if you're speed running, then you already know what to do about here, and you wouldn't come here in the first place. Unless there's some risk that comes up when you fail these checks. But if there is, I'm not aware of it. Yeah, let's go ahead. All odd. Challenges all 3s or 4s. Okay. Automatically adds 1 to each die. Let's not do that. Let's do... Oh, I don't have one that changes to an odd number. Okay, that's fine. This was... There we go. 3 or 4s, huh? Well, they're all odd. So now the question becomes, do I risk it? That's a lot to risk, though. I'd have to have 3 perfect rerolls. So no, I'm not going to change that. 3 rerolls remaining. Oh, shit. I'm dumb. I misread that. That was a... Alright, well, whatever. I think my point's still the same. Achieved expectations. Martin slipped under the building awaiting awning next to the officer and said, "The rain never lets up, does it?" The officer didn't seem opposed to some distraction. In their brief conversation, he let slip that VOA had asked his boss to post him here for the day. More VOA meddling. Interesting. Martin wished him well and made note of the information. Martin noticed the surveyor surveying the Erie. The surveyor, all even, challenges all 3 or 4. Okay, again, why would I ever not choose this? Okay, all even. So change everything to an even number. Yep, okay, let's do it. Well, that sucked. Okay, change one die to an even number. Yeah, let's do all 3s or 4s. Yeah, let's go. Okay. Well, I have 1 4, so let's see. 3 rerolls remaining, huh? Now let's try. Crap. Ah, well, alrighty then. Now the question becomes, do we risk it? Nah. Achieved expectations. The surveyor looked up at Martin. He complained about being forced to work in the rain. Martin pried a bit further. Apparently, the building was slated for demolition as soon as possible. The surveyor sighed and said, "I better get back to work." Martin made a note about the demolition plan. Is there anything in the trash that I can check out? No. All right, the door to the corner store was locked. Martin's not going to make a note of that, huh? Okay. Fair enough. Let's go. Martin entered the Erie. Its walls and floors were cracked with disrepair. He wondered what had become of all the government credit paid to the building's owner. He made a note on the state of the building. As Martin stepped into the main hall, the handful of youths gathered there looked up at him. The oldest looking of them stood up from his perch on the stairs and moved towards Martin. Martin instinctively tensed and took a slight step back. The youth cocked his head slightly and smiled. He took another step forward, extending his hand. "Martin, don't stress. We're here to meet you." The youth clasped Martin's hand firmly. "I'm Bernard. Lucia told me you'd be coming. Welcome to the Erie. It's not much to look at, but it's home." "Martin, but I guess you knew that already," Martin replied. "Lucia was hoping to talk to you. I'll take you up if you're ready. Now let's look around first. I'll just take a quick look around this floor first." "Okay, let me know when you're ready." Bernard returned to sit on the stairs. I'm so used to saying Martin, that's all I can think about right now. Martin felt it better to avoid the trash pile, but not bad enough to make a note of it. I see. The hallway extended a bit further, looking much the same. Martin felt he had the gist. "Hey, what's up, buddy?" The youth acknowledged Martin with a slight head nod, giving no indication that they were interested in further conversation. Fair enough. Same thing. All right. If I remember correctly... Yeah, Martin noticed a pen on the floor in the corner of the hallway. He reached down and picked it up. It was a hefty steel pen of good quality. He wondered who had dropped it. It seemed out of place for the surroundings. He acquired a steel pen. Yeah, I didn't really see anything that would indicate that there was something there that you could pick up. Which is fine, because you had the option. That's one of those interesting things where the option actually helps, because you didn't see anything at first glance. So then naturally some players would be like, yeah, alright, just take me to Lucia. But no. You're just like, nah, I'm going to do my job. And then you just go around expecting everything that you could possibly talk to. And there you go. Get yourself a reward for your exploration. I like that. That's good stuff. And there it is. There is the green. Alright, well, if you're a longtime viewer of this channel, you know what I'm about to do, and stop groaning. Now, again, I want to stress this is not a big deal, unlike the other times where I pointed this out. This is more just for my own curiosity. But you clearly wanted the green to stand out. Because it's one of the few places in the world, other than your items, where you have some color. So clearly, this is something that you wanted to stand out. But how many players would actually see that, I wonder? I've been dreading this moment. Oh, you are a longtime viewer. Well, this is not your first... Well, maybe not long time, but this is not your first rodeo here. Okay. He's gonna sing the green song. Okay, that stands out. That's good. That's good. The classic. Yeah. Okay, that all looks pretty good. But easily... yep, there you are. So the shading definitely could use some work. It definitely does not pop out well for those who with I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. For grayscale. Alright, well, it's an easy enough fix. Just have the green be a much lighter shade than anything else. And then, there you go. Pops out. But that is such a small subset of players that I don't really think it's a big deal. And luckily, it's not required to know more about this part. Like, if there were some gameplay requirements for knowing the green parts, that would be a whole different story. But it's not, so it's fine. Martin took in the studio, his eyes drawn to the plants. It was rare to see greenery in the city. Lucia made apologies for the run-down nature of the room. Bernard casually poured himself a cup of tea. Want a cup, he asked. Martin declined. Turning to Lucia, he said, "So you wanted to speak with me?" Lucia said, "I wanted to show you our community. This place might not look like much, but I think you'll see there's more here. Is that why you brought me into this one specific room? Is this supposed to be a representation of the entire community?" Eerie inspection. Total under 7. Challenge 3 S's. 3 threes. Got it. Alright. Okay. Service or technical? Let's do service. Alright, so 3 threes. Well, we don't want that. Adds 1 to each dice? No. Random die to 6? No. 1 die to a random number, huh? Yeah, alright. I think this will work. No, we definitely don't want the even number, so yeah, let's do that. And then we need... That's all we have. Collaboration. Yeah, we need communication. Right, that was the check that we were doing, right? Communication? Yeah, communication. Nothing. Alright, well. No 3s. That's just awesome. Okay, so... Total under 7, 2 3s. Well, not helpful. But you know what? We're gonna be daring today. Let's see if we can get the challenge. We have 3 rerolls remaining. Oh, that's 1 3. Oh, that ain't. Nope, that's dead. Okay, total under 7. Come on. Oh, crap. See, this is what happens when you try. Don't try. Don't take risks. Well, I'm now doing worse than I did on my initial playthrough. Alright. We come up in the news a lot. Shootings, theft, trash, poverty, Lucia continued. They say no one chooses to live in District 7. It's where those who fall out of society end up. And that may be true. I didn't choose to live here. You, the housing authority, placed me here. This building is falling apart, but when I arrived in this country with nothing, it was a roof above my head, and it's become my home. I could afford to leave now. I've got a job and a little savings. Martin interjected. Wait, so you're still taking the subsidy to live here when you don't need it? That's not how this is supposed to work. Have you been filing accurate accountability statements? Lucia hesitated. My forms are accurate. I'm not rich. The subsidy is still essential to me. I just meant, I think I'm getting to a place where I might be able to get by without it. That's not what's at stake. At stake is the community. So, alrighty then. So I think you're trying to, let's see, like you're trying to present the idea of these people really are just leeching off the government. Which, okay, I get it. So if we take Lucia at her word, then yeah, she's not ready to move out yet. Then the question becomes, what happens to the people if we push forward to have this place closed down? Also, considering all the apartments that I've seen when I was doing apartment hunting, this is a hell of a luxurious setup. Not gonna lie. Like, it'd be one thing if we saw like a studio apartment where it was like you didn't even, like, you have toilets, admittedly a toilet that is actually within view of the front door, with no door here, but I think that's just RPG Maker being RPG Maker. But wow. Admittedly, no bath, no shower. But there are plenty of studio apartments that are much worse than this. So, all in all, this really is not that bad of a place. Which makes me wonder, you know, how bad off are these people actually? You never know. We take care of one another here. Closing this place will cause so much more than individual harm. And the street gangs and the news of all the violence, you're just gonna brush past that? Martin looked around the tiny little room full of life. This is not a tiny little room. Not at all. Lucia replied, I know it might not matter for your decision, but I wanted you to know how your decision will affect us. Martin turned to leave. Lucia asked, and the closure, is it going to happen? Yeah, we can't really tell her one way or another. Martin mumbled something about how there were still a lot of things to consider before any decision could be reached. Lucia simply nodded. Seeing the time, Martin hurried back to the office. So this is interesting because, like, again, you're trying to, I don't know if you're trying to show off that, like, trying to present like a moral gray area, but coming from the perspective of my first playthrough, let me just go ahead and spoil what I was thinking about at this time. Helping these people was objectively, unquestioningly, the right decision. Because regardless of how well, regardless of how worse off this apartment complex is, I as a player was never given an alternative. Be like, okay, well, what's going to happen to them? They just say, get out. Well, doing this is directly going to contribute to the homelessness problem. I don't know how badly there's a homeless problem in this world that you're trying to build here, but we're going to contribute to it. The people that we met were all unequivocally kind, without any question. So I felt like if you wanted to make this more of a gray area, make it a little bit more obvious that some people are here just to, are really leeching off the government. Because as we'll find out, there are several reasons why you should work to prevent this place from being closed down. And I get that the statement that this game is trying to make is do the best you can with what you have. But when there is a very clear goal to do the right thing, in some places that message is going to fall flat. And we'll talk about that when we get there. Martin arrived to the office. He shook off the umbrella. Piper was at the front desk and waved, "Good afternoon, Martin." He gave a half wave back and mumbled a greeting. What's your deal? Martin avoided making eye contact with the client sitting in the office. He'd leave Piper to answer the public's general questions. "Good afternoon, Martin," Piper called in her chipper voice. Filing cabinets full of pending work. Yeah. After the meeting yesterday, Martin didn't think there was anything to be gained from speaking with management. Anything else for me to grab here? Julia wasn't at her desk. Martin wondered where she could be. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, there's something different going on here. Julia's locker was unlocked. There we go. He looked inside and saw a small pocket calculator. It could come in handy. Just for the dev's record, I did not take it last time, but we're going to do it this time. Julia wouldn't mind if he borrowed it, Martin told himself. Martin acquired a pocket calculator. So what are we going to do here? What does this do? Whoa, that increases technical competency by a lot. Ooh, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Okay. Martin noticed the picture above the sink had been swapped for a portrait of the new prime minister. The old painting had been strange, but had given a little personality to the office. He already missed it. The office coffee pot was nearly empty with yesterday's coffee. Martin dumped it and started a fresh batch that he's never going to drink. And nobody else drinks either. Martin opened the fridge to see how it was holding up. He stared in disbelief for a moment, and then reached inside and withdrew the strip of cloth. Another tie? Seriously, who was putting ties in there? Well, finders keepers, he thought as he took the tie. Martin gained a gray plaid tie. What does that do? Wow, okay, so that combined with the calculator, whew, that's a lot of technical competency. I'm liking it. Okay, work on the Erie report. Martin set about writing up his notes from the Erie inspection. He would still need to talk with the building owner, but there wasn't much more needed to finish up the report and issue a decision. He had been at it for some time when he heard the door to management open and saw Julia step into the hall. Seemed like a good excuse to take a break. Oh, right, I can move through here. I thought she was walking towards me, and I was like, okay, just waiting for you to talk. But nope. Okay. Martin approached Julia. She looked tired. Hey, Julia, everything okay? She looked at him blankly for a moment before smiling. I'm okay. Let's meet up at the lamp after work. We can talk more then. The door to management opened again, and Dana's voice called down the hall. Martin, you're finally in. A word, please. Sure, coming. Martin called back without much enthusiasm. Julia shrugged. Good luck. Yeah, I'm gonna need it. Oh, you guys again. Martin was back in the office. Dana seemed to cower at his desk while the VOA agent loomed in the corner. You wanted to see me again? Martin said. Dana looked up. Yes. I just wanted to check in on that Erie case. Got that decision finalized yet? Martin replied. It's getting there. I completed the building inspection this morning. Good, Dana replied. The man in the corner spoke. So, can you sign off on it today? This should be your top priority. Martin started to reply, but the man cut him off. You know, there's a place in this government for those who show dedication. Advancement opportunities even. We're not monsters. I know all you government folk think we are, but we're just doing our part to build a more efficient government. We're paying attention to those who help bring it along. Martin replied cautiously. The Erie case has my full attention. Splendid. The VOA agent smiled broadly, then added, one other thing, and then I'll let you get back to it. You'll be sure to report any fraud, waste, mismanagement, or any other potential security violations around the office, right? Martin felt his chest tighten. Could VOA be onto him and Julia? He tried to calm himself. Of course not. They had only planned the night before. And if you want to call it a plan. This wasn't some totalitarian country with secret police everywhere. Not yet, at least, right? He had to offer some response. So, this is actually some really interesting choices here. It's like, yeah, of course, suck up, just say no, just make a joke out of it, and actually just betray Julia. But then, again, I have to ask, why would I do this? Now, this time, however, there is a bit of an answer. Because by doing this, I now submit myself. I don't want to say cement. I have gained more standing with the HOA agent, the VOA agent, excuse me. But now the question becomes, why? Why would I want to gain standing with this guy? What has he done at all to make me want to endear myself to him? It feels like one of those choices where just like, okay, the reason why a player would want to make that choice is because they would want to be a villain. Sometimes I'm genuinely unsure if the game is trying to make a morally gray area, do the best you can in a morally gray area, or set up some cartoonish evil villains. Because I can see how Lucia being dodgy with her government subsidy forms could contribute to the gray area. And then you have this jerk-off who I've never wanted to punch a bunch of pixels harder than I have right now with this guy. So it's like, what do you want me to explain here? So, just so for the devs' knowledge, the first time I was approached with this choice, I went with 3. Report the dastardly lunch thief. Because I just wanted to piss him off and just waste his time. Now, this time, however, I'm going to do the same thing. Martin told him about the regularity of lunches, clearly labeled vanishing from the fridge. Although Martin couldn't recall the last time he'd brought lunch, or the last time it had been stolen. Perhaps there wasn't actually a thief after all. Because the reason why I made that choice was A, just because I wanted to waste his time. But B, by giving false answers like that, it's a lot easier to make him believe that there is nothing else going on than if I just, clam up and be like, no, I'm good. The man scowled. Well, if that's all, I look forward to seeing the finalized closure as soon as possible. There was nothing more said, and Martin left the office and returned to his desk. He finished writing up his notes. Decision time loomed. He still needed to speak with the building owner. But today it was time to clock out. Martin headed to the lamp to meet up with Julia. Martin returned to the lamp. Julia was already there. I'm starting to see that the first choice that I made when I was here, or failing the expectations, doesn't seem to have had any consequences. A man in a trench coat and bowler hat stood opposite Julia. He stopped speaking as Martin approached. It's okay, Julia said. This is my coworker, Martin. She turned to Martin and said, This is my reporter friend. I hope you've got something good for him. I'm eager to hear what you found out. I'll do everything I can to protect you as a source, but you should understand that there is always a risk to these sorts of things. The reporter pulled out a notepad and looked at Martin. Well, alrighty then. See, now now we have a real reason to not tell him anything. Because now my job is at risk by doing this. That being said, we got to this point expecting to do something, I was expecting that we were going to expose whatever it is we were doing. So, I don't see how a choice like this is going to affect the story. I'm not saying it's not, but it's not immediately apparent to the player. Or at least not to me. So. Whoa. Okay, wait a minute. Is Nova playing the second place? Place has nothing to do with it. I'm just continuing down the list of games that has stuck out to me for one reason or another. In fact, I don't know if you guys have noticed, or rather, some games that I highlighted were not even in the top 50. Just because they stood out to me in one way or another and I wanted to talk about them. Yeah. Hey, big thanks to you and the other judges for providing so much feedback and effort into the entries. I tried to watch as many of the streams and VODs of all entries from as many judges as possible, and I seriously think I've grown as a dev from all the great feedback and different perspectives on so many entries. That is awesome. That's so great to hear. I can only imagine how much effort you all put into this, and it shows and had an impact on me again, so big thanks. That is a wonderful message. Thank you so much for writing that. Yeah. All right. I'll be going to sleep. Well, I'm going to sleep well tonight. Because, yeah, boy, I lost a lot of sleep these past few weeks. I think I was up till 1 o'clock, 1:30 every morning. Then I had to be at work at like 8. So, yeah, wasn't great. But, yeah, it was tough, but yeah, you guys, it really helps that you guys put out a lot of great, wonderful, creative ideas that are legit inspiring. Because stuff like this is a two-way street. By going through your games, you guys gain perspective that you might not have seen as a developer. By us going through these games, we see what you guys are capable of and want to put out there. You know, I've been doing this, I've been working on RPG Maker since 2013. I'm still shocked and still thrown off by all the things you guys want to put out. All the things you guys put out there. So, I've said this several times, and as a judge, I feel like I don't know if I should be saying this or not, but regardless of how your results are, regardless of what kind of feedback that you guys get, you all need to be extremely proud of yourselves. Even if you got a low score. Because you know why? Making a game is hard. Making a game for a jam in a month is really hard. Making a good game for a jam in a month is a nightmare. That comes with so much work. Honestly, like, the only work we have to go into it is just we go through it and then we just give our thoughts on them. Like, you guys are the ones breaking your backs, putting out all your blood, sweat, and ideas into putting something out there presentable. And for some people out there who's never made a game before, that's already a huge accomplishment. Putting something together, putting something out there, that's fantastic. So, regardless of how well your game did or didn't do, you should always be proud of yourself. Because these games are points of representations of where you were at the time. And even if you're not proud of how it turned out, you're going to look back on this and be like, yep, this was a stepping stone. Because without that stepping stone, you guys wouldn't be where you are right now. So yeah, always be in your corner. So I appreciate your thanks, but really, you guys should be patting yourselves on the back as well, just as much as patting others. I hope you all are. I hope you guys better be. You guys better be super proud of yourselves. Because you all deserve it. So, going back to this. Workshop a compelling story together, present a case for housing authorities' role. I don't remember which one I had a better chance of succeeding. Now granted, I can succeed the goal, but all under 3, huh? That means 1 or 2. That's going to be a tough one. So I can either be total above 13 or all under 3. That's... I think I have more collaboration points. Let's do that. Martin wanted to present a compelling story. The 3 of them could work together to figure out what story his notes best told. Alright then. Collaboration. Okay, change 1 dice to a random number. You can change the results of 1 die to an even number. 1 die to a 6? Absolutely not. No. Well, an even number is still a 2, so that would work. I think that's the best pen that we can use right now. Alright, let's go. Crap. All of these are bad. Change to an even number. Crap. Well then. They all have to be under 3, which means the 2 3s I have are not going to work. So I have to get all these rerolls. Unless... Okay, so I don't think I'm going to do the challenge very well. So I think I'm just going to have to... Let's see. 79, 10, 11, 12. You know what? I think I have a much better chance of just trying to meet the goal. So I'm just going to do that. Crap. Alright, come on. Fuck! Come on, please! Please! No! Ah! Why? Damn it, dice! That's 3 failures that I've done now. The 3 stared at Martin's notes and talked, but they struggled to find an angle that all agreed on. At some point, the reporter sighed. Well, it's something. I suppose I can run it by my editor. The 3 shared a drink. The reporter said he'd keep them in the loop on any publication. Let me know if you get anything more, of course, and if it's possible for me to see a copy of your report. That'd be stellar. I know it's a risk, though. Martin nodded. He was feeling tired and left the pair to reminisce about the past. He headed out into the rainy night and to his home. Should have redeemed no cursing. Well, too bad. You failed. You scammed yourself. Martin awoke, rose from bed, and got dressed. He would need to speak with the property owner for the Erie property, and then he would finish up the case. All right, and now we're doing this again. So, what's the best gear to have? Again, I think communication would be the best one. I don't think technical is really the best way to go, but representation, communication. I think if I remember correctly, I think I did representation there, because if I'm meeting with another higher up, then I should probably represent my company very well. But no, I think we're going to stick with communication. A lot of what we're doing here seems to be communication based. And if nothing else, I didn't see how technical boosts could help me with this meeting. Martin had come to dread reading the headlines. No item there? Alright, sure. Martin headed out into another rainy day. Martin stepped into the high-rise lobby of Alien Properties. The company was registered in the Housing Authority's records as the property owner of the Erie. He'd need to speak with Urza Alien to resolve the last policy task for the case. The young receptionist was dressed more for the club than for the corporation. She didn't look up from polishing her nails as she said, "Martin O'Meary, Mr. Allion is expecting you. Take the elevator." You say as she is looking directly at me. But alright, sure. Strange, Martin thought. He hadn't scheduled an appointment. From his experience, it was better to catch these property managers unaware. It seemed he would be at a disadvantage. Well, crap. The elevator, top floor, she said, while still looking at him. Let me guess, she missing some legs too? Elevator, top floor, the reception said. The reception? The reception, not the receptionist. Just the entire reception, the desk, the person, and the stakes that are weirdly sticking out on the thing. The whole reception, huh? Okay. Guess there's nothing else I can... You know what? Okay, I was wondering what would happen, what kind of choice would that be if I could just leave? But I guess not. Okay, here we go. Martin pressed the elevator button and waited. There you go. The elevator doors opened to a luxurious office. The city skyline extended beyond its wall of windows. By the way, yep, don't think I didn't notice that. The pencil is golden. Urza Allian sat behind a massive mahogany desk. Martin noticed an exquisite golden pen sitting on the desk. "Marty," the man called. "You don't mind if I call you Marty?" Martin did in fact hate being called Marty, but Urza didn't pause for an answer. "Yep, okay, another group of pixels that I want to punch. It's good of you to come and check in. Our mutual friend said I'm one of the few loose ends you need to sort." "Consider it sorted then, Marty. See how easy things can be?" Urza laughed. Martin started to interject, but Urza continued. I'm sorry, I'm freaking dyslexic. Ezra, I'm so sorry. "That Erie sure is a dump, isn't it? Glad to have that off my hands, as much as I'll miss those government credits. But all things must pass, am I right?" Another second of pause before. "So Marty, glad you dropped by. Always a pleasure. Be safe out there." Again, when you're setting up this person as a very clearly cartoonish villain, this makes me want to assist with stopping the, stopping the closure of the Erie property. It's just like, okay, well, yeah. Again, there really is no gray area to be found here. "Oh, I thought everything was sorted. But of course, go ahead. Ask away. I'm an open book." Martin wanted to know about the state of the building and where the government's money had been going, if not to repairs. Beyond that, he wondered about the role of VOA and Titan Industries in all this. He knew that Ezra would be cagey. He'd have to broach subjects carefully. Questioning Ezra, 2 5s, challenge 3 of any kind. I remember, this one I got beyond expectations for. But let's see. Ezra clearly liked to hear his own voice. If he could just keep him talking, something would slip out. Okay, 3 of any kind. Nope, not service. Collaboration. It was... I think it was... Yeah, collaboration. Oh, shit. That was one extra one. All right, whatever. Okay, 2 5s. Well, we got 1 5. That's good. So we're going to change the 2. Crap. That's not good. Okay. Well, at this point, yeah, we just have to. Well, 6. Give me a 5. Give me a... Bruh. Give me a 5. Bruh. Give me a 5. Bruh. Well then. Below expectations. Martin commented on the view out of the huge windows. If he knew anything about the wealthy, it's they love to talk about their offices. It worked to get Ezra talking, but Martin found himself unable to bring the conversation to any of his questions. Ezra was too sly. In my Danganronpa fan game, Yidra Manor, Yidra is Monokuma, and she's also a mother of 2. So if any ultimate tries to attack her daughters, every ultimate will die. No exceptions. What do y'all think? Go for it. I know nothing about Danganronpa, so I do not understand what you just said. But hey, if you like the idea, go for it. Well, that was cool. Or not. I didn't have... oh boy, I am woefully underprepared. Oof. Martin stepped into the office, shaking water from his umbrella. Piper was absent from the front desk, and a crowd of people rushed up to him, eager with questions. Questioning public. All odds. Challenge... Oh, crap. 3 of any kind. I don't remember what I chose this time, but hey, alright. Martin had so much to do still, but he couldn't just ignore these people's questions, although he wondered where Piper was. Okay, all odds. That should be easy enough. I just wanted to change to an even number. Weird. I distinctly remember that there was a pencil, or some kind of pen, that could change everything. Sorry, not everything. That could change one die to an odd number. Maybe I missed it this playthrough. Hey, Willard, welcome in. Hey, I dig the art style. Yeah, it's a bold choice, certainly. Oh, you know what? I think that was the pen that I missed out on, because I could have gotten that pencil or the pen from the Bureaucrat from Ezra. Yeah, because I remember taking that pen when I first played this game, but I guess not this time. Okay, well, 3 of any kind, huh? Yeah, sure. That just gives me a free reroll. There we go. That golden pen. Yeah. Okay, and then communication. I don't have any... Well then. Service, technical, service. I think it was service. I don't quite remember. Yeah, let's go. Alright, here we go. The pencil can randomly change the result of 1 die of choice. Okay, if I want to do it odd... wow. Not sure, why not? Crap. Alright. Crap. 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 Crap! Come on! Oh, man! Wow. I had it all there. I had the goal. And then I tried to reach beyond, and I just failed. That was some bad luck. It really was. But hey, fail forward, right? This is the intended game experience. He answered question after question, seemingly making the situation worse with each answer. Yeah, sounds like me whenever I try to do PR. Eventually, he got them to leave, but no one felt good about it. That had taken too long. He needed to get to work on the report. In Piper's place was a sign. Soon to be home of the Housing Authority's new virtual office assistant. Oh, God. I remember saying out loud, oh, God, they're bringing an AI to this place, too. Ugh. Martin shook his head, so they got to Piper too. Was anyone safe? Behind the counter, Martin noticed a little gift with his name on it. Wish I had got to say goodbye, but thanks for always being willing to help me out. He opened the gift and found a lovely tie. Aw, a dotted silk tie. Okay, so just for my own knowledge, for my own curiosity, Dev, if I did not choose to help Piper cleaning out the fridge, would I have not gotten that tie? Would that have any kind of consequences? I'm just trying to see, because right now, yeah, no tie. Cool. Consequences. Good. I like it. I like to see it. Martin figured he should finish the report before checking in with management again. Yeah. Wait. Yeah. Hey, Julia. Julia wasn't at her desk again. Martin worried if she had been terminated as well. Well, let's check the locker. Julia's locker was locked. Well, Martin opened his locker, not expecting anything except his lunchbox. Instead, he found a tie and an unsigned note as well. Saved you the trip to the fridge. Who was doing this? There were so few people left in the office. Quite a bolo tie. Well now. Luck competency. Interesting. Well, you know what? I'm going to the fridge anyway because I want to inspect stuff. Martin slowly opened the fridge. He expected to see another tie, but it was empty this time. The mystery remained. Oh, look at that. The office coffee pot was missing. In its place was a sign. No handouts. Martin and his co-workers had pooled their money to buy the coffee machine. It wasn't even a handout. Fucking corporate bitches. Wow. Okay, well, with all these failures, how is this going to affect the end result? He had everything he needed. It was time to finish the report and finalize the decision. Martin had learned a lot about the situation, even if there might still be questions. First, he wrote up a summary of the OBO budget analysis. Well then. Argue that closing the Erie will not save money. Summarize the budget concerns. Arguing that closing the Erie will save money. Well then. Alright, yeah, we're just gonna do this. I'm gonna try doing the entire thing the same goal that I did the first time. He wrote up a summary of the budget analysis, highlighting the possible unexpected downstream costs from closing the Erie. Such burden might entirely offset any potential savings. Next, he turned to writing up the results of his property inspection. Write neutrally about Erie, write favorably about Erie, write negatively about Erie. Again, this is the weird part where it's like, okay, you give me these choices, but what have we learned up to this point that would make me want to write either way? That just seems kind of weird to me. Again, Erie, the residents of Erie are all saying that they want to stay, and when we met them, yeah, they seemed like very friendly people. But was there really anything that we saw that would imply that it was just a front? There was one line from Lucia that says, yeah, you've heard about us in the news. We got a bunch of street violence here. But we didn't see that much of an impact as a player. We just saw what we were told to see. And I feel like, unless I missed it, that I really wanted to see impacts, like the impacts of the residents outside of what Lucia wanted me to see. Because what we saw could have been prepared just for this occasion. For all we know, the residents could be using that apartment as a drug traffic front. Just seems a bit weird. But screw it. I chose to write favorably about them the first time. Because, again, what is closing down? It feels like closing the place down is the unquestioningly, unflinchingly evil decision. And in a game about trying to do the best that you can with what you have, I don't get how these kinds of moral choices would help you. Would help convey that theme. So I'm just going to write favorably. He described the people and community at the Erie. He realized he didn't have much to say. Oof. He reached a section on other considerations. He thought about what to include. Titan Industries had... Sorry, 1 second. I just heard my phone go off, so I need to check that out really quick. Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I need to go. I'm getting called into work. So, yeah. Dev, fantastic job. Rubiskin, I think you deserve your second place. However, the points that I brought up, the main ones were the idea of failing forward is a great one. However, when there is a very clear objective, Nova is being called to work this late. Oh yeah, this happens. This happens every now and then. I mean, it's better now. Sometimes I get called in at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, it can happen. This is actually pretty tame. But the I don't have time for this. I'm sorry, but I think the biggest issue I have is that when there's a very clear binary good or evil choice, it feels weird to mix that in with a concept of failing forward, especially because there are real consequences for Martin's life. But because those consequences only really affect the ending, as a player, they don't really sell me because, I may lose my job, I may not lose my job, but that's all part of the ending screen, and that doesn't really have a lot of impact as a choice. But if you want to expand on this, go right ahead. No one's saying you can't. But yeah, hey, thanks so much for playing. That feedback is so helpful. Sorry you got to work. Yeah, me too. All right. Well, I don't have time to go look for somebody to raid, so you guys just go hang out with whoever you want to go. Thank you so much for making your game. Benny is the PR guy, but he really is right when he says every game is a gift. But even the weird games that you play, always be proud of yourself. Always be in your own corner. Because regardless of how games turn out, you did it. Which puts you head and shoulders above a lot of other people that just talk. You guys walk the walk. You should always be proud of that. All right. I will talk to you guys on Friday, where we will have Pitch Friday, where there's only one game on the list right now. But hey, if anyone wants to try and push something in, there you go. All right, I really have to go now. All right, see you guys later. Thank you so much for dropping by. Later.